We are joined by the South Yorkshire Fire and Rescue team.
So my name's Xander and I'm with Jack, and we're both members of the South Yorkshire Fire and Rescue communication team. So our role involves engaging the public in what we do, and part of that involves running our social media accounts, one of which is TikTok.
You have now got, is it 150,000 followers on TikTok?
Just short, aren't we? 147,000.
When did you actually start your TikTok account, and how long has it kind of taken to see that momentum?
So we launched in September 2021, which is around 16 months ago. So we had a really big burst over the first 9 months, I think, and it's been a bit slower since then. But yeah, it's about 16 months we've been on the platform now.
And you guys were kind of one of the first fire departments to join TikTok and to start using the platform, and definitely to see that growth potential.
Yeah, so I think when we started, there weren't many public services at all using TikTok as a way of engaging their communities. But since we joined, like Jack said, about 18 months ago now, we are seeing a lot more public services, that's like councils, police forces, and not-for-profits joining TikTok and seeing the potential.
What was like the decision behind you guys joining TikTok in the first place?
I suppose first and foremost, we just wanted a platform to showcase the amazing work that our frontline crews do day in and day out for local people. I think we also saw it as a way of bringing safety messages to perhaps a new audience, and telling old messages in a slightly different way. And we'd also recognise that perhaps we weren't reaching some audiences through our other social media channels, particularly younger audiences. So that's why we thought we'd take the plunge with TikTok.
We've had a comment there from Wrench saying, I think everyone was inspired by the team at Fire Team. So yeah, definitely a big inspiration. Jack and Xander, obviously you guys are not the firemen that we see on your TikTok account. So what is it that you guys do, and how do you kind of organise your content days and kind of organise those shoot days?
Yeah, so as Xander's already said, we work in the services comms team. We have quite a wide remit really, but in terms of the content days, that is a case for us of booking time with a fire crew. Not always the easiest thing to do, but we try and be as efficient as possible. It's normally around 2 hours we'll spend with them. We go to them, so they are always available. If anyone was concerned, they're always available when filming to actually attend incidents. And we have had situations where, well, I certainly have, where I've been sat at a station and they've had to go out, so you end up stuck waiting for them to come back. But what we'll generally do is we'll come up with the ideas linked to our kind of TikTok strategy. We then send them on before we go. We arrive and pretty much get straight into it. What we try and do for efficiency for everyone is film as many videos as we can within that 2 hour period, which we'll then use over a period of time, so we not keep going back and disturbing the crews.
So what is kind of the goal on TikTok?
We're obviously not here to make money, but the principles are similar really behind our content. So we've got some aims and objectives as a fire and rescue service, and all our TikTok content aligns to those, although it may not always seem like. So, for example, one of the things we focus on is safety-related content. That might be getting people to sign up to reminders to test their smoke alarms, for example, as part of a wider smoke alarm campaign. And that is something we are able to measure. Another big focus for us is around recruitment as well. So, for example, we're always recruiting on-call firefighters. So those are firefighters who live and work in a particular area, and then if there's an incident, a 999 comes in, they drop what they're doing and respond from a fire station. And some of our content, for example, is designed to recruit people to those roles, which again is something we can measure ourselves against. And in terms of the other types of content we produce, I suppose it's also about just bringing a bit of relevance to what we do, and educating local people around the amazing work that our frontline staff do deliver for our communities. So I think TikTok, perhaps unlike any other social media platform, is a really good way to give people a behind the scenes look at what we do. And ultimately, we are a public service. We are taxpayer funded. I think it's a really justifiable aim for something like TikTok to be able to use it as a way of just showing local people what we're doing for them.
Yeah, definitely. And I think obviously with your guys' goals being around that recruitment, the educating, people sometimes think it can be a boring side of things, but with you guys, you really do bring the energy and make it fun, make all the content really entertaining. So it's having that balance between educating the audience as well as actually getting people involved, entertaining people. Especially with like the US versus UK trends and things like that obviously work really well. Really good to see kind of a mix between all of those different content styles. Have you noticed an impact from TikTok? What is the impact that TikTok's brought to South Yorkshire Fire?
Obviously, it's given us access to 100, and that's just the start. So you look at some of the views and the people you can reach through TikTok videos are very across to millions of people. So that's obviously one key benefit. It's given us access to those people to test the smoke alarms and consider joining us, unless that audience. It's also given us the chance to work with colleagues. So we do enjoy what we do on TikTok, and we've had a great time working with people on there who feature in the videos. It builds our relationships with them, and we can kind of bridge a gap between them and the community, I guess. So, yeah, it really just gives us access to a lot of people that we wouldn't normally got access to. It's not just for youngsters TikTok, but it is a younger audience that may not access our other channels. So,
have you got a strategy in place?
Yeah, so we do have a strategy. It's one side of A4, and it just sets out what we're trying to achieve as a fire and rescue service on TikTok. Initially, it's about building an audience on there, which we think we've done over the last 18 months or so. So we've got a larger number of people that we can share our important safety messages with, share information about recruitment with, or just give people that behind the scenes of the fire service that I mentioned. We aim to produce content that either adds value or entertains. TikTok is first and foremost an entertainment platform. So although not all of the content that we produce with our amazing frontline staff immediately appears to have a safety message, what that content does allow us to do is build that audience so that we've got that ready-made audience of people that if we do have an important message about smoke alarms or chip pans or whatever it is, that we're able to share that. We also, as part of our strategy, we really want to build a community of people. So we aim to reply to pretty much every comment we receive. Social media was always meant to be social, and we're very conscious as a fire and rescue service, as a public service, that we want to be building that community and responding to all those comments that we receive.
Yeah, definitely. And community growth is obviously very important on TikTok for any business or, even for personal brands. But it's having that kind of mix between the community growth and then obviously you guys have had a lot of success with your different videos. Do you know what your most viral video is?
I think it's the chip pans on fire.
Yeah, so
2 million. Yeah.
So although we've obviously produced lots of sort of fun, light-hearted content, you mentioned the comparing sort of UK firefighters with USA firefighters. Actually, our most viral video, I think it's like 2.6 million views, is actually one of our core safety messages, which is around chip pan fire safety. And it's a demonstration of what happens when you pour water onto a chip pan fire or a grease fire, and basically the water and the fat expands exponentially. There's a big explosion, and unfortunately, it's a cause of lots of house fires still up and down the country. What we did there was we paired a cover of a song that one of the local bands in Sheffield produced, and I think that helped to create that local feel and the virality as well. So although we do lots of fun stuff on TikTok, it's reassuring that our most watched video is actually one of our sort of core calls to action and safety messages.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's something that, a lot of people aspire to go viral and to get millions of views, but it is really important that those videos that do get the millions or, the high thousands, it is important that those messages do actually result in something that achieves that goal. So, a lot of small businesses and things like that watch our like Spilling the TikTok Tea episodes are, they'll post something about something that's happened in their day-to-day life and it might go viral, it might get a million views, but that's never going to convert any followers or, audience into followers into sales. But for you guys, pretty much every video that you post is very like on brand, reaches the message, even if it's not, like you said, an educational style of video. It can still be a fun trend, lighthearted, but it still does kind of get your message across very consistently, which is, really important. Rose from Obsidian Impulse has just asked, do you pin your most viral videos? Do you guys want to answer this one?
We used to, and then I was off about it. She said we shouldn't do it. So no, we used to pin our most viral videos. That felt like the natural thing to do because it's a celebration and you want people to look at the good stuff. But what the discussion we had with Anna was we probably should be looking to pin our most useful videos, not just our most viral. So thankfully the ones that are at the top are good videos that have done well. But it's the stuff that we want people to see. So the smoke alarm message, for example, around testing smoke alarms, I think is up there now. So yes, we used to, but no, we try and pin the videos that add a bit of value now, not just ones that get big numbers.
What style of content typically works best for you guys then?
I would say probably the answer to that is we're still learning, really. I think certainly there has to be that healthy element of the trending stuff, the entertaining content. But we're discovering all the time stuff that really resonates with our audiences. So, we've mentioned the UK versus USA fire helmet stuff. I've done a series of videos about fire hydrant signs, which you wouldn't immediately think was likely to lead to viral videos, but it has done. So we're still exploring what people want to know about the fire and rescue service, and we'll sort of be led by our audience really in terms of what people want to find out about. But certainly having that mix between sort of the entertaining, trending content and then the content that actually adds value to us as an organisation is really important to us.
I think as well, based on that, kind of obviously analysing what your target audience are enjoying, and the beauty of TikTok is, TikTok tells you what works best and what doesn't work best. If your audience don't like a video, it won't get the views. But, if they do like the video and they're engaging with it, it gets bumped up. So thankfully, TikTok does tell you, do this, do that, post more. So do you guys kind of like actively look at your analytics? How often do you kind of keep on track with those?
We look quite regularly. I mean, we look every day.
Yeah.
Really, in terms of down, if it's not, we're always looking and analysing in that sense. And then we do tend to do some semi-regular work where we will look at all of our videos that we've posted for a certain amount of time, look at what's done particularly well, try and understand why it's done well, look at what's maybe done very well, kind of identify patterns. So, shorter videos do tend to be the ones that have hit best for us. It's topics we know that do best. So we try and do more, of those. But at the same time, we're trying our best to add value into the well, because it does tend to be that some of the more silly videos do perform better, but we're not just doing silly stuff to really incorporate some education. So, but we like to think we're quite good at being insight-driven and insight-led in terms of what we do.
Obsidian Impulse said, do you have any more variety of educational videos due to the content you need to deliver? Have you kind of got a distribution between? So obviously, because you post a lot of educational stuff and a lot of trends, how do you distribute which goes to what path?
So I guess what we do have is we have a kind of a calendar of safety campaigns that we follow throughout the year. So we've recently been focusing on smoke alarms, for example, or house fire risk related to the cost of living crisis more recently. So that does guide us in terms of the educational content that we create. And beyond that, we try and answer questions that our followers in our community have. So we'll be responsive as well. But there is quite a broad spectrum of issues that we cover. And as I say, we're kind of learning all the time in terms of what people want to find out about. On the fire cadets, I should have mentioned around the recruitment aim, one of the things we try and use TikTok for is to recruit young people like Billy to either our fire cadet schemes or our Prince's Trust Team programme schemes. And I think we're going to be filming some content with the fire cadets at Cuddiff soon. And in terms of getting in touch with questions, I think our DMs are open. And also, when people post questions in the Q&A on TikTok, we do try and address those. So we have fairly regular sessions of filming lined up with our fantastic frontline staff. Where possible, we'll answer those questions. Or we do have a link tree set up as well to our website where people may be able to access information from us if needed.
Rose said as well, I see your name is Test Your Smoke Alarms. Do you recommend changing to something like that? So why have you put that as your profile name?
It's a particular campaign we're running at the time. But we'll probably change that to something else depending on what our priority is.
Having your profile name as either kind of a strong message that you want to put out, or to incorporate keywords that are relevant to your business. Obsidian Impulse is like home fragrance, so their message obviously is quite different to Test Your Smoke Alarms. But if you're thinking about keywords, things that people might be searching for, oh no, not the hat. Things that you might be your target audience might be searching for. Talking about recruitment, how do you guys kind of use TikTok to achieve that recruitment and to to do that? Because we've got quite a few like restaurants, hotels, more of the service-based industries that do want to recruit more people through TikTok. So what are your kind of best tips for that side of it?
So our youth engagement initiatives, and that's quite straightforward in that, it's just, I think our followers know that we are recruiting those initiatives in quite a straightforward way. Around things like firefighter recruitment, it's more around guiding people through the process. So it is quite a intensive application process. We have thousands of applications each time we open for recruitment. As a firefighter. So sometimes it's explaining that process, it's giving perhaps tips around fitness, because you have to pass a fitness test to become a firefighter. And it's perhaps also showcasing the diversity of staff that we employ as well, and making it clear that, it is a job for anyone. And being quite open and upfront about that. So it's kind of just giving our followers that insight into the fire service, so that hopefully they're better prepared should they choose to apply for one of the job roles we've got available. So it's sort of almost like a sort of coaching role.
And are there any particular struggles that you might face that that you find quite challenging on TikTok?
I think we've had quite a smooth journey, to be honest, in as much as we've not really struggled with anything in a big way. Obviously, finding the time can be a challenge. So, our crews aren't always able to find the time. So, it's working with them to be able to get the filming dates in. I've already explained earlier that we are, our staff are operational. So, if responding to fires and incidents does come before TikTok, be assured. So, if we are out filming something, that's a challenge in itself, that they could actually be dragged. Keeping up with TikTok isn't easy. There's no doubt about it. You have to be on regularly, doing quite a bit of scrolling to really be picking up on trends. We've tried our best over the last 16 months to jump on trends where we can, but very often if you are, 2-3 days late, you are too late and you almost look a bit silly. It's almost embarrassing to have jumped on it so late, but that's definitely a challenge. Being able to keep on top of it. It moves so fast, probably more than any other channel that we manage.
Yeah, definitely.
Otherwise, it's been, we've loved it, haven't we?
Yeah, I think as Jack says, the keeping on top of the trending content can be hard. We've had some of the public services and not-for-profits sort of contact us and say, they're impressed by how we stay on top of the trends. We don't think that we are very good at staying on top of trends because the nature of the work of our fantastic frontline staff means that they work like a shift system. So sometimes there can be quite a delay between us sort of looking for ideas for TikToks we could do and actually getting out and doing filming with a particular crew. And in that time, as you know, trends kind of moved on quite quickly. So yeah, keeping on top of the trends is probably the hardest bit, but it's just about being present on the platform and seeing what other people are doing usually.
Have you kind of got any tips for coming up with the content ideas for those evergreen content videos that you can just post whenever, the timing doesn't matter?
Well, I think the evergreen stuff is probably where you really can be totally focused on your core strategy. So we know we've got certain things we want to push: smoke alarms, carbon monoxide alarms, our fire cadets program, etc. So, and I think there are a lot of really useful sounds and kind of not regular do things like shelf thoughts, for example, which is something I picked up on through scrolling through TikTok, which is ideal for evergreen content. So it's a sound that will go over pretty much any kind of footage, and you can just put captions on, and that's where you just be really bold and linked to your specific strategy and the messages you want to get out. But what we do try and do when we do a filming day, we'll have a list of 20 ideas, for example. We will try and film all of them, but while we are there, and sometimes we'll do this after the crew have gone out if they get called out, or when we've finished our main videos, we will just record what we call stock footage. So, one we've used regularly is the same clip of a fire engine going out on blue lights out of the front of a fire station. Simply, you can just record the front of the station. Even there's a river behind one of our stations which we've recorded before and used a few times. It's really simple.
Yeah.
10-second clips that you'll be able to put a different sound on day after day after day, and it'll do well. So, but as much as we try and do our ideas, we always do try and get a small handful of generic clips that can be reused, because once it's in your camera roll, there's nothing stopping you using it 10 times. And actually, there's certain clips that they are the gift that keep on giving, really. We keep getting good views and good numbers on something that takes seconds, minutes to edit.
Yeah, exactly. And it's all about thinking, how you can work smarter, not harder. So obviously you could be going every month and getting the same footage over and over again, or you could go and get a bank full of raw footage that you can just reuse and reuse and reuse. A lot of people think that you need to only post trends or to always film, using a different trend or a different piece of raw footage. But in reality, you can just reuse the same things and apply it to different things. So, using different sounds, adding different text, even using things like the CapCut templates and things like that. There is a lot of different things you can do with that initial raw footage. Kind of taking it away from TikTok for a little minute. What other social media platforms are you currently using and are involved in your strategy?
Obviously, our aim is to reach as many local people as possible. So I've mentioned the reasons why, whether it's for safety campaigns or recruitment campaigns or just telling local people about the work of our fantastic frontline staff. And so we use a wide variety of social media channels, so Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. We've got slightly different sort of roles for each channel, so we try not to just use it as one big massive social media. We try and have a sort of strategy in place for each of those social media platforms, but ultimately they're all there to achieve similar outcomes. One thing I would say about TikTok is we've had social media channels like Twitter and Facebook for probably well over a decade now, but in the space of the time that we've been on TikTok, our following has outgrown all of those other channels put together. So in terms of the number of people we're able to reach on TikTok, that's why it's become so important for us.
How do you guys distribute your time between the different platforms?
So we've started more recently doing a content planning approach, which is basically where we will look at each month at a time and schedule in content and draft up content for Twitter, for Facebook, for LinkedIn, etc. So I would say probably TikTok takes up most of our time because that involves a lot more travelling, mileage, physically going to film stuff, and you can't really get away from that with TikTok. And then the rest is split between the rest of 50%.
One channel I've forgotten was Nextdoor, which is quite a new social media channel for us, and it's kind of completely the opposite end to TikTok. So TikTok is sort of very broad and very global, and we know that lots of our followers are followers from other parts of the world. Nextdoor is very much our local communities. It's a bit like sort of kind of Facebook groups, so we can reach very specific people on there. So that's why it's important for us to use a wide mix of social media channels, so that we are reaching a large number of people, just to reinforce those safety messages, recruitment campaigns, and tell people about the work of our fantastic frontline staff.
Rose from Obsidian Impulse said, do you guys go live or do you not utilise that part yet?
It's not something we've done a lot of, but it's something we'd like to do more of, particularly actually around recruitment. So if we are going to open recruitment for firefighters, for example, we'd like to run some live sessions, some sort of Q&A sessions around that. We did use live we teamed up with the Met Office. You may remember the really severe heat wave we had in July last year, which was a really busy time for us as a fire service. And by teaming up with the Met Office, obviously they're also another not-for-profit organisation, we were able to share some safety images around wildfires and water safety via a live to sort of a larger number of people who would have done otherwise.
When you're having your content planning days and you're brainstorming your ideas, how do you kind of base those content ideas? What do you base them off?
I think a lot of our ideas come from scrolling through TikTok.
Yeah.
I think it's an entertainment channel, but it's an imitation channel. A TikTok trend is essentially one person jumping and copying someone else, who then copies someone else, and then copies someone else. So a big thing for us is trying to find as much time as we can, usually in our own time, if we're being honest, just looking through TikTok personally and understanding what's trending and what's out there. Obviously, we look at comments, and that's something that drives us a lot. So if someone does put a legitimate Q&A through, we'll try and answer that. If someone puts something in the comments, and we do sometimes get people calling for certain station tours or can we have a look at this piece of equipment, etc., we will try and cover that as well. And then obviously we try our best to think creatively about our campaign work, and if we've got a smoke alarm campaign, for example, we'll try and think, aside from the trends and aside from the questions, is there anything we can do with this, creatively to make it into something that will do well on TikTok. So yeah, it's generally a lot of time scrolling and looking at what other people are doing, and then looking at what people are asking for, and if there's anything in between that really that we want to get across, and if we can creatively make it TikTok worthy. And sometimes we get sent stuff by our staff as well, ideas or videos that someone sent that said, oh, will this be good for TikTok? So that drives us as well.
Do you guys use any ads at all, or do you just focus on organic content?
No, we've never paid for advertising. We'd much rather generate sort of following and engagement through organic content. We've not really felt a need to use paid for advertising. I think right now on TikTok you can still reach lots of people just through coming up with your own ideas for content and identifying what people are interested in.
As you know, a marketing agency, TikTok agency, we don't really do ads ourselves. You know, I think we've tried one maybe when we first started to kind of give it a go. But as a whole, we find that TikTok, you can get that organic reach much more than you can do on the other platforms. Like, you know, it was kind of unimaginable to go viral on you know, most platforms other than maybe LinkedIn. But yeah, so that kind of level of reach that you can get through pure organic TikTok is crazy, really. So unless, you know, and I was about to say, unless you're struggling with the organic reach, maybe look at ads, but I don't think ads work unless the organic reach will work, because, you know, the content needs to resonate with the audience. So making sure that you can create high quality videos that does resonate with that audience, that whether that be that it entertains them, educates them, inspires them, you know, whatever that may be, it does need to have some sort of emotion provoking people to continue for them to engage. So definitely, you know, a good thing to focus on organic content. We obviously had a call and obviously spoke about making tweaks to your account, and we did things like spice up your playlists, adding emojis in, you know, really simple things that can make a difference, so that you do need to constantly be thinking about, you know, what the audience would see. We made really small changes like adding emojis to your playlist names, but that, you know, might drive people to click them. It'll encourage them to watch them. We updated them so that they were relevant and full of, you know, the right content for each playlist. You know, for the audience watching, just keeping an eye on that, and maybe giving your TikTok to a friend or a family member and saying, you know, from someone else's perspective, what can we actually do here that will make the account look better, encourage you more to go and click on that bio link and things like that. Since you guys got your link tree in the bio, do you think the link tree is working any better? Do you think it's something that you'd recommend people to do?
Yeah, I think the link tree is a bit of a game changer, really, because it's not just giving you more options on that URL bit. You're actually able to see through a link tree, and even not even having to pay for it, you do get some basic analytics on what's happening. So we can see how many people are going through our TikTok to stand up smoke alarm reminders, for example, which is really useful when it comes to evaluating and measuring what we do. And I think we've put our link tree across all our channels now, because it is just really useful for being able to, because there's so many things we push on TikTok as well, and it helps kind of convert those views and likes and comments into something a bit more meaningful, of somebody kind of taking the first step on a journey to becoming a firefighter, or, you know, signing up for smoke alarm reminders, booking a home safety check. You can see all of that and more through our link trees.
Rose from Obsidian Impulse said, did you grow your account yourselves, or did you invest in marketing experts to help get that far?
We started from scratch ourselves, probably 2 years ago, less than that. Jack and I didn't know anything about TikTok at all. You know, we'd run social media accounts before, but we knew very little about TikTok. We hadn't even downloaded the app, so we were starting from scratch. We did invest in just a little bit of very basic training for the team, because we were so new to it. But beyond that, we pretty much just threw ourselves in. What we've done more recently is we have worked with Morgan Branding just to help just fine tune our content a little bit, and start just making sure we are getting those outcomes that we want to for our communities, in terms of those sort of safety campaign outcomes or recruitment campaign outcomes, and just coming up with some sort of content ideas around that.
What are we aiming for now? What's the goal for the future for South Yorkshire Fire on TikTok?
Oh, I can't tell you that. No, I think we kind of just want to keep doing what we've been doing. We really want to. I think we've built a following now, and that was, you know, when we first started, we actually didn't worry as much about outcomes. We just wanted to create, and and build that audience, which we've now got. Obviously, we do want to keep growing that. We have some kind of target, dream targets in mind around follower growth. But I think the priority for us this year is to start, like I've just said, turning the views and the likes, which are all fantastic, into things that are more meaningful. So it's using Linktree and it's driving more people into our service, making people safer. So it's been able to use TikTok as a real force for good now we've developed that audience. I think that's our priority, really. But in terms of how we're going to do that, I think it's more of the same, perhaps with a little bit more of a focus on adding value in the content we post rather than just having fun. Of course, we'll still have a bit of fun, but we want to really try and focus a bit more on value rather than views. I think that was your line, Anna. Try and really, boost the outcome.
What are your overall top 3 tips for TikTok growth?
If I do 3 really quick ones, I'd say you'd have to be relentless. You do have to post quite a lot. As Anna would say, getting more tickets to the TikTok lottery. Try and be human. That's been a challenge for us, of course. We are a corporate and professional organisation. It's not always easy to be more human, but it is an entertainment channel, so you can't be wooden and corporate. And then I guess probably a bit of a cheat actually, but be engaging. And what I mean by that is, we try to respond to every comment. Not always possible, not always appropriate, depending on what the comment is. But we try to build a community on there. So yeah, be relentless, be human, and be engaging.
And I suppose some practical tips from me, number 1 would be to spend lots of time on the FYP so you know what's trending. Number 2 would be, where possible, I would say to edit within the app, because the editing on the app is really powerful now. And then number 3 would be batch baking. So because our fantastic frontline staff may get called out any one time, and it can be quite hard to pin down dates to film. It's really important that we get lots of content in the space of an hour, so they can get on with their life-saving work.
Favorite app for editing TikToks?
TikTok app.
Favorite TikTok trend?
Wednesday dance.
Favorite social platform?
TikTok.
UK versus US?
UK, obviously.
One final top piece of advice for TikTok.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, enjoy it. It's a fun platform to be on. Obviously, we're a serious organisation with serious aims, but it is a really fun place to be, and I hope that our followers continue to enjoy our content.
Well, thank you both so much for joining and for giving everyone your tips.
Thank you, Anna.